Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. So today we're going to be recapping the 2022 Steelers season. Let's get into it. Going into the season, I didn't have much expectations. I've been saying all along, all summer, during the draft, during the spring last year, I'd be surprised if we had a winning record. Okay, I knew we weren't going to make playoffs. I just knew it. Obviously, they exceeded expectations in the second half of the season this year. But going into this year, I knew we had a young offense. Defensive-wise, we were pretty good with, obviously. But offense, drafted Kenny Pickett. We didn't know who our quarterback was going to be with Mitch Trubisky, who was basically brought in as a bridge quarterback, just as Kenny develops. Kenny obviously played earlier than expected. He got in. Made a lot of rookie mistakes in the first half, in the first couple of games. We saw a lot of rookie mistakes against the Jets, a lot of rookie mistakes against the Dolphins, the Bills, but he started to get good after the bye. We saw him play very good against the Ravens. Both games, we saw him play very good. Well, Ravens obviously went down in the first game, but in the second game, he played very good. Just basically the second half of the season, we saw Kenny Pickett play very good. Offense in general played very good. Obviously, we started rough with Najee Harris. He had a pretty bad first half also. Him dealing with injuries and a poor offensive line didn't help either. But either way, going into this season, I knew we just weren't going to be there this year. Next year, I was looking forward to more, but this year, not so much, especially with Matt Canada. Matt Canada wasn't the best last year, but I thought, Big Ben was just holding him back because obviously he's not mobile. You thought, okay, well, maybe with a more mobile quarterback and Kenny Pickett, and even though Mitch Trubisky's not known as a mobile quarterback, he's more mobile than Big Ben. Basically, anybody's more mobile than Big Ben. So I thought, okay, let's give Matt Canada another chance. That first half of the season was terrible. I'm going to keep referring to the first half of the season. First half of the season was terrible offensive-wise. Matt Canada being the main problem. I was calling for Matt Canada to get fired every single game, basically after that Patriots game. We had talent on that team. We just were not getting it done. It was the same couple plays every single time. It was becoming predictable at that point. But then it started to get better in the second half. Okay, like I said, I'm going to keep referring to the first and second half. The first half was just terrible offensive-wise. Defensive-wise, we were pretty good all year. In the middle, we started getting really bad with pass coverage and stopping the run. But, in the beginning of it and the end of it, we played very good. TJ Watt obviously went down, pectoral injury, missed a couple of games. We saw the impact there. We lost, I think, every game that he was down. Even though Minka Fitzpatrick won the team MVP, which obviously he deserved, he played every game. He's the All-Pro, definitely the best player in the Steelers this year. But the real more valuable player was TJ Watt. We saw the impact that he had when he was playing and when he wasn't. We were getting no pressures on the quarterbacks, on the opponent quarterbacks when TJ Watt was not playing. TJ Watt comes back, instant impact. I think he had an interception his first game back. So even though TJ Watt didn't play the whole season, we saw how valuable he was. On the defensive side as well, Alex Highsmith, he had himself sort of like a Pro Bowl type year. Could argue that he should be taking the spot for TJ Watt. But, we kind of see his progress started to decline once TJ Watt came back. That's obviously expected. Meaning, like, Alex Highsmith wasn't really dominating because he's Alex Highsmith. He was dominating because, well, he was the next guy up on the, the edge rusher for Steelers. Not taking away his talent, just saying. Okay, just saying. Still very talented. Once again, on the offensive side, looking at the receivers. Deontay Johnson, we saw, very aggravating me. Aggravating me a lot, dropping passes, and then running east and west, which, he could have got a lot of first downs, a lot more yards if he just ran straight. He was getting mad. He's getting me mad a lot. Started to get better though at the end of the season. First half though, not so much. He actually didn't have a touchdown at all this year. No receiving touchdowns this year. Unbelievable. George Pickens, we didn't utilize him enough. He caught so many great passes this year, especially 50-50 balls. He's our wide receiver one. I'm happy to have him as my wide receiver one. Deontay Johnson, on the other hand, I kind of want to trade him. Now, who do we trade him for? I don't know because we traded for a second round. What do we do with that second round? Do we just draft another receiver and he just ends up being just the same, if not worse, than Deontay Johnson, or maybe even better? Who knows? We do good drafting. Our second round draft picks throughout the years have been pretty good. George Pickens being one of them. However, I don't know. Our receivers are going to be lacking next year. They're going to be lacking. Of course, George Pickens being number one. Okay, got that there. But who really fills in after that? Especially trading Chase Claypool. I love Chase Claypool, especially being a Notre Dame fan. He obviously went downhill. Maybe it's not him. Maybe it was just Bears offense, Bears being a bad team, and Justin Fields not being the best passing quarterback. Who knows? But we definitely fleeced the Bears with that. We got that second round pick, which is actually going to turn out to be the 32nd pick, but it might not be in the first round because there's something getting vacated. Either way, definitely fleeced the Bears with that. Offensive line was terrible. It was getting better at the end of the year. Once again, offensive line was pretty bad. That was one of our worst things player-wise. That was bad this year. Najee Harris, deal with injuries. First half, played pretty bad. Poor offensive line didn't help. got better in the second half. That's exactly what we needed. Other than that, though, player-wise, my MVP, of course, would be, I mean, it's hard. The most valuable player all year was, of course, Minka Fitzpatrick. He was the best player, but TJ Watt, we saw the impact of when he played and when he didn't. So that was that there. Looking at, though, how we finished. I didn't really talk about that yet. 9-8, third in AFC North. Pretty tough division. We had Mike Tomlin on the hot seat. I have Mike Tomlin always on the hot seat. I like Mike Tomlin as a person. Okay, as a guy, he's a great dude. But as a coach, I just don't know if he has what it takes to get us another Super Bowl. I don't know. Maybe we'll talk about that in another time. Looking at the player stats now, I'm using Pro Football Reference. Love this webpage. Whoever made this, absolute genius. So, like I said, we finished 9-8. Let's look at our passing leaders. Kenny Pickett obviously was our passing leader. Threw for 2,404 yards, 7 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. We need to see him progress more a lot next year with passing the ball. Obviously, they got to rely a lot on Matt Canada also. Mitch Trubisky had 1,200 yards, 4 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Looking at rushing now, Najee Harris did get 1,000 yards this year. 1,034, 7 touchdowns. Receiving, he had 229 yards and 3 touchdowns. So that second half definitely improved. Jaylen Warren, good backup running back, 379 yards rushing and a touchdown. And then receiving, he had 214. Looking at some of our receivers now, we had, looking at receiving now, we had Dante Johnson, who had 882 yards, no touchdowns. George Pickens, 801 yards, 4 touchdowns. Chase Claypool obviously got traded. He played pretty good with us, 311 yards. So even though Chase Claypool got traded earlier in the year, he was 4th receiving. Pat Frymuth had 732 yards, 2 touchdowns. Very happy with Pat Frymuth. Kicking wise too, I mean, we went through a lot of kickers this year. Chris Boswell getting injured, he was kind of off, but I'm not worried about it. Just down year for him. He'll be back being one of the best kickers in the league next year. Defense now, our sack leader. Let's see who our sack leader was. Sack leader was Alex Highsmith, 14.5 sacks. Of course, very good. Cam Hayward, 10.5 sacks. TJ Watt, 5.5 sacks. Interception leaders was Minka Fitzpatrick. Obviously, being an all-pro safety definitely helps. Of course, like I said, definitely the best player on the Steelers this year, but most valuable, gotta say, TJ Watt. Levi Wallace also 4 interceptions. Cam Sutton 3 interceptions. So secondary definitely got a lot better also. But in the first half of the season, like in the very beginning, our secondary and our defense was very good. I know against the Bengals, our defense basically won that Bengals game, the first game of the season. So real quick now before I end the video, what I would like to see for next year. Well, first of all, let's address the coaching. I gotta give Mike Tomlin another chance. I mean, he is, as a person, very good guy, obviously. But I don't know. I'm sick of just settling with the same, a little above 500 record and then doing nothing in playoffs or missing playoffs. I'm just sick of that. I know it's hard to win a Super Bowl, but it's just like the same outcome every year. I'm just getting sick of that. But I guess we'll give him another chance. Matt Canada, I don't know. He improved. He definitely got a lot better, no doubt about it. I don't want to take another risk on risking so much talent on the Steelers offense. So I don't know. Steelers got to make a good decision, smart decision. We obviously got to look at the candidates too. I wouldn't mind Cliff Kingsbury. I'm pretty sure that's his name. Taking over. Cardinals head coach. I can't think of his name right now. Taking over. There's not many other options. Frank Ray from the Colts, but I don't know. We got to hire out. If we do fire Matt Canada, we got to hire somebody outside of the organization. Matt Canada was somebody who was hired inside the organization. We do that a lot with defensive coordinators, offensive coordinators. We just bring up the next guy in line. Whoever was the quarterback assistant will be the next offensive coordinator. Whoever was the linebacker assistant will be the next defensive coordinator. I'm sick of that. Only person I would like to hire inside the organization is Brian Flores. I know he's getting looked at. I think at defensive coordinator jobs right now he's looking for. I don't blame him. Obviously, he's a very good defensive-minded coach. I love him as a linebacker coach. I like to see him be the next defensive coordinator for us. I'd love to see him stay. I don't want to see him go. But like I said, that's the only person I'd like to see get hired inside the organization. Draft-wise, well, first pick, I want an offensive lineman. Offensive lineman, first pick. Second pick, I want a linebacker or a defensive tackle, defensive lineman. I want a defensive player. Okay, third pick, maybe a receiver, maybe a defensive back, and then just keep going. I mean, linemen, we need at least 2 linemen out of this draft. And then we need a D-back and we need a receiver. That's my main 4, and a linebacker. So the 5 main targets is a lineman, it is a linebacker, a defensive lineman, a D-back, a wide receiver. It doesn't matter any order as long as we get the lineman first. We need an offensive lineman. We need a solid franchise offensive lineman. And that's really that. Deontay Johnson, I'd like to see traded. If we could trade him for a second round pick, I'd be happy with that. I don't want to draft a receiver though with that second round pick. I'd rather just sign like a big name receiver. I doubt that will happen. However, it is what it is. It is what it is. I want to make playoffs next year. I'm not expecting anything less than playoffs next year. This year, I was okay with it. I knew we weren't going to do anything. I was happy that we progressed every single season, every single game I meant. Next year, I want to win the AFC North. I want to be I want to compete for the first seed. I want to get a bye next season. I'm telling you, I'm expecting a lot next season. I'm not expecting anything less. If we have another bad year, I want to see Mike Tomlin gone. You heard it here first. I mean, I've been saying this kind of throughout the season. I like Mike Tomlin as a person, but I'm sick of this same mediocrity every single season. If Mike Tomlin can't do anything next season, and I'm not expecting a Super Bowl win, I'm just saying we got to make it deep in the playoffs. We got to be dominating teams. That needs to happen next year. I want to see that. I want to win the AFC North. We got to compete. We have to have a great offseason. George Pickens and Kenny Pickett could be a very, very good duo. Our defense, obviously, we're bringing a lot of guys back. Devin Bush also might leave, which I'm fine with that. But we gotta use our money. We gotta have a good off season, and we'll be all right. We gotta make decisions, good decisions. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'm out. Peace.